My name is Victoria Pritchard and I will be your host here this evening. Obviously, things have been a little different this year, but we have worked really hard to find a way to celebrate the wonderful work of these amazing 25. Can we see them on the screen? Can you give yourselves a big round of applause? You can't hear me. Okay, well there they are on the screen. We will be hearing from them later on. Before we begin the ceremony, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to the awards organiser and the editor of Independent Insight, Andrew Maiden.
Welcome everyone. I'm in the party mood already and I hope you are too. And in particular, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to the 25 whom we are celebrating tonight, the sector's leading innovators and influencers. I'm sorry it's taken 8 months to recognise our 25, but finally, here we are. So we're here to celebrate all of the 25, not just the winners voted by the 25. And we'll be sharing their stories over the coming weeks and months so that other schools can benefit from their best practice. But an event like this just wouldn't be possible without the support of our sponsors. And I would especially like to thank Sims Independent for their generous support of these awards, and also our other sponsors, TG Escapes, Christie & Co, School Fee Plan, and Towergate Insurance. And let's not forget our superb panel of expert judges who put in a huge amount of time and energy into selecting this evening's 25. And once again, I'd like to thank our headline sponsor, Sims Independent, for commissioning the videos of the 25. And they're hosting the full-length versions of them on their website, and I really would recommend watching them all. Finally, if you'd like to tweet, the handle is hashtag i25 awards, and we'll enjoy looking at your tweets as they come through. I hope you have a very enjoyable evening, and thank you once again, and back to you, Victoria.
Thank you very much, Andrew. So, first off, we're going to be sharing short video clips of the fabulous work of the 25. So we have grouped them according to themes. And first up are projects from some of the backroom and unsung heroes of independent schools.
For me, the role of the bursar is simply an empowering one. I need to be able to empower the resources of the school, both physical and human.
The school was in danger of not surviving. And then with the incoming new head, it's doubled in size. It's one of the biggest schools in the country. And that has all happened under Martin's behind the scenes stable leadership.
We have new facilities built out of existing infrastructure. We now have a £3.5 million new building for our years 3 and 4 classroom.
Martin's role as a bursar is so much more than just finances and spreadsheets and budgets. He understands every aspect of the school.
And the insightful initiatives that he has is what is changing things about this school for the better every day, and will continue to do so for many years.
When I took on St Teresa's, it was a school that needed change. The school at the time was making an eye-watering loss. It had gone down to about 400 pupils. We did very quick fixes, new uniform, new branding, new signage. Everything was painted, refreshed, and the question centre was added, and it culminated in the end with a 2.5 million sixth form centre.
Before Christmas of last year, we came together as two schools with an awful lot in common. We could see huge benefits from us coming together, joining the boys and girls together.
In partnership, we're able now to replicate what we have at St Teresa's and grow a boys' school equivalent with the benefit of a co-ed sixth form, which will come in 2025. My personal view is that partnership is the way forward, and together we're much stronger.
The Wear It Again Day came about really from some research that the girls had done. They presented an assembly on 100 small things that we could do to make a big difference to the environment. And part of that was highlighting fast fashion.
Mrs McGinty, she did a Wear It Again Day where we got to come in vintage clothing. And that kind of eliminated that idea of fast fashion and cheap clothing on online websites.
And of course we now have this new swap shop, so the girls bring in their old ball dresses and have them swap for something else, so they don't have to be buying new.
The girls from the age of 5 here are very aware of their impact and their footprint and what they can do to help the environment.
Flexible Teacher Talent is a social initiative that we set up because we wanted to improve flexible working opportunities in the teaching profession. We help schools to introduce flexible working and to manage and develop and get the most out of their staff who work flexibly. And we help people who are looking for flexible work in schools.
What that brings to Putney is huge depth of experience, inspirational teaching, fantastic retention of our staff, a community feel.
Because I have less classes, I feel that I can inject a bit more into each of them, and I know that's a real luxury to have.
And we are seeing demand from people across the country in terms of looking for flexible work. We're hoping to match that with rolling it out to different schools and training up ambassadors really for flexible working.
Girls have embraced like looking after the chickens, and then they wanted to get some pigs and thought, let's try pigs out. Also we have Mark, who is a trained shepherd, and then he really got involved.
Over time we came up and formulated a training program which spanned over 4 levels, and 4 being the equivalent of what I do.
Our next innovation is really to put some solar panels up on the roof and a wind turbine, and these will be used to provide a renewable energy source to power our iPads and also our door opening mechanisms for the chickens and the ducks.
We're encouraged to be outside, we're encouraged to look after these creatures and really put our hearts into something.
There's nothing more important than young people's mental health, and Heads Up gives us a shared language through which to talk to them about it.
So the 3 ways in which we sort of share that with the children is heads up physically, looking up, looking out, going to clubs, societies, volunteering. And then we have heads up out of devices, and it's about looking up and then doing something other than just connecting with a virtual world. And then there's heads up looking after your mind and learning how to sort of cope with things that come along, the difficulties in life.
It increases not just your sort of how you feel emotionally, but also your academic achievement. It really does impact how you behave in lessons and the way you interact with others.
We realised quite early on really that the children that we work with face really challenging futures, and and a curriculum which was sort of based around accreditation wasn't sufficient. And a major part of that was actually building a staff team who had the resilience and the skills and the capacity to actually support the children.
We're very focused on staff team building, and therefore we've run team building exercises with the staff where they've been in vulnerable positions, which has brought quite good trust between the staff, which has then enhanced the relationships when they're back in the school environment.
Being able to understand the way the children act, why they act the way they do, and just building that resilience and understanding to help me do a better job every day.
Mrs. Wallace-Woodruff and I developed an idea to use video conferencing technology with the network of Queen's Industry Mentors. That allowed pupils to make contact with those influencers and to be able to learn from their experiences.
The thing that is absolutely fabulous about the virtual boardroom is that it's multifunctional. So not only can the girls see their French counterparts on one screen, on the other screen they can project keynote presentations of films that they have made with their iPads.
Paul's work is all-encompassing in the school. He really does look carefully at what the needs of each individual within the community are.
I really love what the virtual boardroom is doing for me and my learning.
We developed at my last place a wellbeing programme that pupils take part in. But the more that we did work on wellbeing, the more we realised that this was a community action, that actually wellbeing was happening all over the school, that it should be something that every member of staff and everyone connected with the school has an understanding of.
We've had a range of wellbeing classes in our wellbeing forums. They do optional ones like finance and first aid for your mates. They give us really good opportunities to learn how to, handle these situations outside of school, which I think is really good.
I definitely think everyone, a catering student, would be much more prepared to cope with those kind of sort of day-to-day stresses than perhaps another student where they haven't had the sort of wellbeing as they've been growing up.
Thrive is about catching things early intervention, and it's student driven, so it's students having the understanding, the knowledge to identify that they might be struggling with something, and they know what to do, where to go and how to access the relevant support, whether it's from students or whether it's from different members of staff.
You see students doing knitting, you see them doing board games. That's not part of Thrive, but it's what Thrive is about.
It needed to be something which involved students proactively, something which they felt was a positive part of their life.
It's just having the student link that helps students really open up to us.
And what I hope that we've done is that we've made them sort of masters of their own destiny in terms of their well-being, and also given them, a good insight to the needs of their mental health.
Inspirational work. So, information technology affects every aspect of school life. We'll now see some examples of some really, truly pioneering work in this field from i25.
The Visible Learning Programme is made up of 5 elements. Number 1, the visible learner, ensuring that pupils are assessment capable, they understand the language of learning. The second part of it is know thy impact. The third part is inspirational, passionate teachers. 4 is effective feedback. And at the end of it is aligned systems and processes, that collective efficacy, so everyone is working together with a common goal to drive the school forward.
One of the things we designed was some characters to help become child friendly and to kind of access it at this level.
The learning dispositions of words and qualities that we can use in the solo taxonomy is sort of how we
get to a different stage in our learning.
It's phenomenal to see the change in children and their interest in learning, their want to learn, their drive. It's been phenomenal. It's been a great journey.
The Cyber Ambassadors scheme was set up initially as a pilot scheme with Hampshire Youth Commission. The aim of the scheme is to involve young people in training other young people about cyber security.
And the initiative is based around encouraging young people to safely use the digital world and also take precaution when they go online.
I actually gave a session to our junior school, giving a quick introduction about the cyber world, talking about chainmail, age restrictions on social media. Anybody in the school who you see wearing a Cyber Ambassador badge, you can come and speak to us for help on the online world.
So we don't want to demonise social media in any way. It's actually building up their skills to be able to manage it going forward and to think, is this causing me a problem now, and how can I make it safer?
We've successfully brought in technologies just at the point that they're going mainstream, just at the point that they actually make a difference to people, without causing them much work. We've essentially created an invisible structure that just works for people.
Ian developed a database, I think one of the very first databases, which allowed you to write reports, to see information about boys, and that just became the norm.
Radley College have very recently moved to Microsoft Teams, and we're pushing that out to the different teachers to use that system.
Essentially, we're maximising the value of teacher contact time by not spending time in classrooms playing with computers, because computers are so reliable out of the classroom that that's where they can make the biggest impact.
One-to-one iPad programme is to equip all boys from year 3 up to sixth form with their own iPads, which they use both in school and at home. And the idea being really to sort of like give teachers access to the very best, the latest teaching tools to make their teaching easier, to reduce their workload, but also improve the quality of their lessons.
So I definitely use iPads as an assessment tool. So we've got some fantastic apps that have been filtered through the school. I can set tasks for homework, I can set tasks and lessons.
It provides a more interactive way of us learning the content at school, and it's just a lot more fun.
Technology can identify the gaps in knowledge and then recommend sort of like suggested paths to actually close those gaps. So very much thinking about the now, but also with one eye on the future.
We came up with the BCS Blue, which is a digital platform that focuses on children's development in all areas of the curriculum. Not only the core subjects of English and Maths, but those intangible things like wellbeing and our BCS values. The programme shows specifically how children can improve and make good progress and attainment in all areas of learning through a points-based system.
In a day-to-day lesson, the teachers would be collecting evidence for the BCS Blue because it feeds into the statements. At the end of every term, they would input that into a specific pupil profile.
Through the BCS Blue, the parents and children can give clear direction and a pathway to help them achieve in every given area of learning.
Effective learning can lead to better outcomes for all. And here are some subject-specific examples from i25.
The parental engagement programme is based really on my own dream as an educator, which is to inspire transformative and disruptive change in education. Historically in education we've worked very much in silos, with the school and parents, and then the student and their peer group operating quite individually. The ethos of this programme is to bring all of those different silos together.
We all know that parents who are fully involved in the education of their children have a better relationship with their children.
The programme has given us a mixture of talks from revision techniques to technology talks.
Education should be about enabling young people to create their own futures.
There are 3 strands to our digital wellbeing framework. The first of those is age-appropriate autonomy. The second part of it is to do with digital resilience. And the third part of it is thinking about ethical participation and helping young people reflect on the best way to engage in life in terms of digital citizenship.
There's what we call the amber zone, so you have to ask a teacher's permission to use your phone. Your usage is sort of all sit on your phones and play a game, but now you're a lot more sociable.
The Microsoft Surface range of products just seems to lend itself incredibly well to the classroom, and that's really been a game changer.
This was very much Laura's vision. We are pro-boundary and pro-technology. That message has been really effective, and that's very much her doing.
We spent a great deal of time researching and developing an innovative learning environment, and it was important to us that learning environment was not just a physical space, but actually had an impact on teaching and learning across the school. And we've called that our box. So there are 2 key drivers to the box approach. The first one being developing digital literacy in the children. So this is looking at coding, robotics, graphic design. And the second driver is developing their complex creativity. In essence, that's the children having original ideas that they can own.
I see children's attitude to learning changing as they enter the box. They are active parts of their learning. They're taking leadership, they're taking ownership.
It helps them to innovate, it helps them being very creative. I find it fantastic. The fact that the kids love it, it is even better.
PAL, it gives the children the confidence to know that when they come to school, that there are people who really care about them, who believe in their dreams, who want them to constantly reinvent themselves.
What we then did was created a strand in our curriculum called the lifelong learning strand, and that has 4 main elements. The being element, which is very much humanities philosophy, the living element, which is our environmental biology geography study, the create, digital learning, enterprise, and the endeavour, which is personal challenge.
We explore different ways of thinking, and we always write a dissertation at the end of every half term.
We want people who can listen, who can think, who can put ideas together, and this has really increased that in our children.
Back in 2016, PC Wardell and his dog Finn were chasing an offender through the streets of Hertfordshire. Finn restrained the offender as he'd been trained to do, but unfortunately the offender had a 10-inch hunting knife which he plunged into Finn. The most that the offender could be charged with for hurting the police dog was criminal damage. So the children decided they wanted to write letters to Parliament to try and convince people to take their story on board.
The children demanded that Finn's law be taken seriously and campaigned tirelessly in both Parliament and the National Assembly for Wales. Their campaign was even referred to at length in the House of Lords.
This project gave our children a voice, and that they have now gone forth and actually made a difference. They helped to change the law.
Really amazing work. So new ways of working in schools can make extraordinary differences to the school and to its pupils. Here are the final set of videos from i25.
From starting by teaching one Year 5 class Latin, we've now expanded our partnership work to a huge range of areas. There's now sports tournaments going on and sports coaching. There is primary computing lessons and primary French lessons. We have GCSE classical civilization going on and GCSE additional maths, meaning that on a Thursday afternoon we have over 70 pupils from state primaries at our school learning these subjects.
I joined CCF because I thought it would be really nice to have friendships with other schools, and I thought it would be nice to see what the army's like.
They're doing more outside school and feeling like, in fact, things are achievable.
We have a huge range of things going on, and that list can only just get bigger and bigger, and we can do more and more.
The pedagogy that engineering, enterprise and technology is based on is a project-based learning, and the idea that a pupil can learn through making something. It's allowing our girls the chance to work on projects which are current, which are timely, which allow them to explore their technical creativity and give them the springboard to develop technical independence and intuition.
So here is a subject which we have created really from scratch, which encourages you to make, to break, to test, to make better.
It was the perfect balance of making sure we had the independence and we knew that we had to be resilient, and if knockbacks then we have to know how to deal with them by ourselves, but we always had that support system, and he was always going to be there just to help us keep going and finish our artefact to the best of our ability.
The initiative that we've been nominated for is actually all about bringing astronomy to York. It grew out of the York ISSP programme, which is where the local independent schools reached out to the local state schools, and I ended up running a bunch of masterclasses for 12 and 13-year-olds on the theme of astronomy. And then I thought, well, what else can we do? So we sort of nudged it up a little bit and thought, well, why not bring GCSE astronomy to them as well?
Twice a week, students come at 4:30 for an hour to study GCSE astronomy with Mike, and he runs that course with another member of staff.
And the aims really are to get astronomy out to all the local schools that don't necessarily have the sort of facilities we have, so we can share with them and make sure the good work carries on.
The great success of Harris Westminster has been this genuine partnership between Westminster School and the Harris Federation. So we have this wonderful selective school, sixth form only.
The teaching is very similar. We have timetables that allow us to share teaching across the two schools. So members of staff from here teach over at Harris Westminster, pupils from Harris Westminster study certain subjects here.
We can attend lectures, for example, over here at Westminster, and we can organise activities between the societies that we have in common. And it just sort of brings the whole community together.
And the fact that it's needs blind is brilliant, because then it's accessible to anyone. You just have to be academically rigorous.
I've really tried to make the community aware that with the benefit of liberal, liberating education comes a responsibility to give back.
The Jubilee Park Trail is a digital nature trail. It's been created by Bromley High Junior School in collaboration with the Friends of Jubilee. There's 16 posts on the trail. It's a 2-mile trail, and what we've done is create presentations and audio files which are associated to QR codes.
Working on this project has revitalised our membership. Mostly our active volunteers were doing conservation in the park, but we have a number of volunteers who aren't able to do that, elderly people, and they really enjoyed being with the young children.
We've still got so much to do, and there's so much ahead of us with this actually. So while we've been working on it for 3 years, there's still a lot more to happen.
Again, truly, truly inspiring. So now, ladies and gentlemen, for the serious part of the evening, the announcement of the awards. But before we begin, I would like to ask the chair of the judging panel, David Hanson, to say a few words.
So, thank you very much, Victoria. May I say it's an absolute pleasure to be here, and it's a privilege to be chair of the i25 panel of judges. The COVID pandemic has tested all of us in every aspect of life and also our schools. And it's clear that independent schools have stepped up to the challenge of being able to provide, in these testing times, a world-class education for their pupils. And you think just doing that would be enough. But what's extraordinary in these challenging times is that innovation and development have continued. And indeed, the quality of the work we have seen here at the i25 has been truly exceptional. And that has made the judging fascinating and challenging and quite demanding in trying to bring forward and find the final 25. And I wish to thank the judges who have given tremendous amount of time and commitment to making sure that the judging process is both robust and fair. When people talk about the independent sector, they often identify or describe traditional values. They recognise and understand that our schools take strength and pride in inculcating in our young people core values of respect and service, compassion, discipline, hard work, and yes, we do those things. But more than that, our schools have always had and continue to have today a reputation for innovation and continuing development. And many things we see in mainstream education today find their roots in the independent sector. For example, in design technology, or in investigative science, or in target language teaching modern languages, or more recently in digital learning. And also not just in the academic curriculum, but also in personal, social education of young people, their care and their welfare. We have been at the leading edge in those developments. So the i25 is here to shine a light and celebrate the success of this remarkable sector. But more than that, those who come forward, those who find themselves in a position of winners at the i25 are those people who have managed to capture the imagination of others. They've changed behaviours. They've improved pedagogy and school systems, and at the heart of it, what they have achieved is measurable positive impact for young people, for their children in their care. And that is remarkable and worth celebrating. So tonight, Victoria and everybody, we are going to see some extraordinary examples of best practice, and I hope you very much enjoy the evening, and I thank you for your time. Thank you, Victoria.
Well, thank you very much, David. So the way we do these awards is we have 4 what we call joint finalists and 1 overall winner. And now we would like to announce the first of those 4 joint finalists. And to make that announcement, I would like to invite Joe Taylor of Towergate Insurance Brokers to tell us who he is.
Good evening and thanks, Victoria. Really thrilled and excited to be supporting these awards in recognition of the great innovations and initiatives that are happening within the independent education sector. Towergate are a leading insurance broker. We specialise in a number of different areas, including education, of course, and it's really important that we are able to recognise all of your hard work and give something back to the sectors in which we operate. So now to reveal the winner. And the winner is Michael Shaw of Bootham School. Congratulations, hope you have a fabulous evening.
Thank you very much, much, Joe. And now here is the full video of Michael Shaw talking about his work.
The initiative that we've been nominated for is actually all about bringing astronomy to York. It grew out of the York ISSP programme, which is where the local independent schools reached out to the local state schools, and I ended up running a bunch of masterclasses for 12 and 13-year-olds on the theme of astronomy, and that was really good fun. And then I thought, well, you know, what else can we do? So we sort of nudged it up a little bit and thought, well, why not bring GCSE astronomy to them as well? And that's where we went to.
The ISSP is the Independent State School Partnership. Initially, astronomy lessons were done on weekends through this partnership, collecting students from a wide range of schools. That's now been extended so that twice a week students come at 4:30 for an hour to study GCSE astronomy with Mike, and he runs that course with another member of staff.
We bring in prep schools from out of York. Again, we bring in kids from schools in York, so the big state schools send their kids to us for evening programmes as well. We even get our own students in from time to time, and that's quite nice too. And the aims really are to get astronomy out to all the local schools that don't necessarily have the sort of facilities we have, so we can share with them and make sure the good work carries on.
Mike's teaching changed my moral view, because when I first came to Bootham, I didn't know English very well, so he tried to help me understand things by teaching them in a different way. My previous school didn't have any science at all, so he just opened a whole new world for me, and I want to study science now.
The impact on students' learning for me has been probably the best bit about the whole of this. We've been running for 8 years. Some people have used their passes to get on to all sorts of interesting courses, so we've had a whole load of astrophysicists at university coming off of the GCSE astronomy year. We even got one guy into medical school. He was kind of 50-50 on whether or not he was going to get in, and they let him in because he had GCSE astronomy, which was great. So there's a doctor out there who knows what all the planets are. I like that.
I think this will help me in the future because I haven't decided what I want to do in life, and I think this has opened a lot of doors for me. And even if I don't go down the astronomy route, I think it'll look really good to universities.
Probably help me with getting into uni, but also I've been thinking of maybe wanting to go into aerospace engineering, which an astronomy GCSE might help with.
How we share this work with other schools is basically by reputation. There's a local independent school just down the road, and they've started running our course 2 years ago. And in order to get them going, we brought them in. We had their teachers come and observe our lessons for a couple of weeks until they got the sense of the feel of how this worked. We taught them through the admin processes, and now they're up and running.
As a teacher, Mike is inspirational, he's very individual. He takes on ideas from lots of different sources that then try and build on the students' interests and understanding.
He is absolutely epitomised by a kind of selfless, altruistic approach to education. In his lessons, he's always charismatic. Typically the students will come out and say, that was a brilliant lesson.
Mike's teaching has influenced my worldview in that he clearly has an incredible level of passion for what he's doing. He's so excited by everything that he's teaching that it kind of makes you excited as well.
We've set up a seismometer which connects to the world, and we're broadcasting our earthquake collecting data out, and I really want to build a radio telescope for Bootham before I retire. So that's the next 5-year plan, is to get radio astronomy here, and after my time is done, all this lovely kit will be here, and I hope we'll have a pool of expertise for people to use it.
Huge congratulations, Michael. How do you feel? Can you hear me all right, first of all? Yeah. Can we hear you? Can we hear him all right? Is that a technical hitch? I can't hear you. But we'll just see if we can sort this out, because we'd love to hear what you have to say. What I will say, though, Michael, is very fittingly, this award has a star on it, which I feel is absolutely perfect for the first of our joint finalists this evening. And it sounds as though you reach for the stars quite a lot with your ambition and what you would like to achieve with the school. How do you feel about winning it? Give us a hand gesture if we can't hear you. Brilliant. Perfect. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, a very, very worthy winner. We'll give him a round of applause. Super. So, and now to the next of our 4 joint finalists. Could I ask Rosie Adlam of Christie & Co. to make the announcement of this second joint finalist?
Thank you, Victoria, and thank you to Andrew for making sure this evening still goes ahead. It's not lost on any of us how much of a minefield it must have been to pull all of these moving parts together. So huge congratulations to you as well. I think the year has clearly been a very strange one, but if there's one thing that has come out of it is that a huge light has been shone on the education sector, and everyone is acutely aware of how much a crucial part of our society it is. So I think if we can take anything from it, it's that we're here to celebrate those successes and really shout about all the great achievements that are going on within the sector on a daily basis. And it's a huge cheers from Christie & Co to everyone involved in tonight and all the nominees. We are delighted to work in this sector. It's an amazing sector to be part of, and we work with inspirational people day in, day out. So without further ado, on to the announcement of the winner. And it is Vicky Brown of Redhill Preparatory School. Congratulations, well done.
Thank you, Rosie. And here is a video of Vicky Brown talking about her work.
Back in 2016, PC Wardell and his dog Finn were chasing an offender through the streets of Hertfordshire. Finn restrained the offender as he'd been trained to do, but unfortunately the offender had a 10-inch hunting knife which he plunged into Finn. The most that the offender could be charged with for hurting the police dog was criminal damage, which was basically 5 months at most in prison. So I showed the children a book which had been autographed by Finn with his paw print. The children were fascinated as to why a dog was famous, so I explained the story and they said they think the law should change.
We thought it was horrible that dogs and service animals were being stabbed and maybe even killed, and the offender didn't get anything for it apart from criminal damage.
And I couldn't believe that a dog was worth, in the eyes of the law, the same thing as a smashed window.
Because you could just replace a window, you can't replace a dead dog.
So the children decided they wanted to write letters to Parliament to try and convince people to take their story on board. So they wrote a letter to the Justice Minister, and they decided to send 1 letter a day so that the Justice Minister would get a letter for 24 days.
Dear Mr. Gould, I am writing to complain about you not giving a punishment for somebody who stabbed a police dog. Police dogs are important because police dogs can track criminals, find missing people, and can smell drugs, that's explosives.
We wrote poems that went viral on social media.
Shouting, screaming, help, help, lying helpless on the ground. Please, please save my dog, yet worthless in the eyes of the law.
The MP came in along with the newspaper and the radio station, and the children gave an incredible presentation with their own work, and our MP ended up in tears and said that he would go up to Parliament and support the children and represent them.
I have found that the Finn's Law campaign has helped my son to really create a passion for what he's learning. So rather than see something that he doesn't like and go, well, that's not acceptable, he'll now go, what can I do to change that?
I was sitting there one day doing my marking and I had parliamentary TV on in the background, and the next thing I know I hear Lord German standing up.
The Redhill Preparatory School in Haverfordwest decided to support and have been campaigning for Finn's Law.
And it really was such a proud moment watching him stand there and talk about everything we had done.
Hi, I'm Dave Wardell and this is Finn, otherwise known as Fabulous Finn. I'm just doing a little video as I wanted to just talk about Team Finn Juniors and Vicky and their help with Finn's Law. The children demanded that Finn's Law be taken seriously and campaigned tirelessly in both Parliament and the National Assembly for Wales. The campaign was even referred to at length in the House of Lords. Due to the impact of their campaigning and their teachers' determination for their voices to be heard, these children have helped us change the law.
Following on from Finn's Law, Miss Brown encouraged the staff to suspend their planning, and together as a team we worked enthusiastically on a new topic called Parliamentary Month. And as you walked through the corridors you could see 4- and 5-year-olds writing and delivering manifestos.
Other schools started to get in touch with me and ask what we were doing because they thought it was a really good idea. So we ended up with schools in Scotland, Northern Ireland, England and Wales all getting involved.
Now I know it doesn't matter your size or your age, you can make a difference. And I want to be a lawyer and stand up for people and what I think is right.
This project gave our children a voice, and that they have now gone forth and actually made a difference. They helped to change the law.
Oh, Vicky, I have to say an absolute personal favourite of mine, Finn. How do you feel about this award? When you first introduced Finn to the class, did you think you would end up here?
Not at all. All I did was literally show them a book that had been autographed by a dog. It was wet play. I went down to the staff room to make a cup of tea, and when I came back, they were all researching it, and they were so cross that nothing had been done, and the law should change, and they were so passionate about it that that's kind of how the project was born, and it was child-led throughout. The children just took it onto the next level and next level. When they got nothing back from the Justice Minister, they were back again. What do we do now? Who do we need to get in? It's so rude, he hasn't replied. And so it just took off, really. It's brilliant.
How fantastic. Well, lessons for all of us there, I think. And this is coming to you and all your kids, and obviously also to Finn. So many, many congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So now to our third of the 4 joint finalists, and could I ask Mark Brown of TG Escapes to make this third announcement?
Thank you for having me. It's great to virtually be here. On behalf of the whole team at TG Escapes Eco Buildings, I'd like to congratulate all the finalists, in particular this year, which has been a pretty unusual year for all of us. And the winner is Russell Shepherd of Hazelwood School. Well done, Russell.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you. And here is a video of Russell Shepherd talking about his work.
We spent a great deal of time researching and developing an innovative learning environment. And it was important to us that learning environment was not just a physical space, but actually had an impact on teaching and learning across the school. And we've called that our box, and you'll hear the children and the staff refer to thinking inside the box and outside of the box. So there are 2 key drivers to the box approach. The first one being developing digital literacy in the children. So this is looking at coding, robotics, graphic design, and the high-end technology that they'll be exposed to in the workforce. And the second driver is developing their complex creativity, the type of creativity that the technology of the future will not be capable of. In essence, that's the children having original ideas that they can own.
More than anything, the box encourages deeper thinking skills. The way that the children are able to think across subjects, think more deeply within subjects, and explore subjects in different ways. It might be through the VR goggles and they're able to visualise it. It might be through the Lego wall and they're able to build it. It might be through the tables and they're able to draw or doodle it or put it into diagram form.
There's so many different ways of learning and it's so innovative. There's all the VR headsets. So if you don't like working sitting still, there's wobbly chairs. If you don't want to write on something permanently, there's whiteboards on basically everything. So I like that about it.
The physical space of the box has had a real impact on the whole school. Firstly, in terms of the professional dialogue between teachers, who really are taking a step back and looking at how the pupils are learning and how they teach. And where relevant, and in some aspects, really looking at breaking that hierarchy between the teacher and the pupil when learning.
I see children's attitude to learning changing as they enter the box. They are active parts of their learning. They are taking leadership, they're taking ownership.
It helps them to innovate, it helps them being very creative, and they don't really realise it's what it's doing, which is the beauty of it. I find it fantastic. The fact that the kids love it is even better.
In the box we have very few rules, but one being the fact that at the end of every lesson it looks completely different. The walls are full of information, the Jamboards are full of collaborative ideas. But what we're very clear is that it must be completely cleared, so it's a blank canvas for the next class. We don't lose that learning at that point. The children capture the space with their 360 camera, upload these images to the VR goggles, and when back in class they can put them on, look round the space and carry on their learning from that point.
The most important thing to remember is we're trying to prepare our children for jobs that haven't even been invented or conceived. And the only way that we can do that is by equipping them with skills rather than the accumulation of knowledge. And the box, in its free form, just gives endless opportunity and endless possibilities to learning.
Because of its physical space, we can have 3 classes in here at any one time, which we call coexisting. So teachers are now beginning to co-plan across year groups lessons within the box which might work on a common learning objective, pitched at different levels, or might look at a common skill, or even starting to explore peer-on-peer teaching.
Russell was animated, engaged. Everything that the box delivers, he was when he introduced the box to us. There was no question that this wasn't going to be successful and that we weren't going to embrace it.
It gave children the freedom, it took away barriers with the staff, it opened conversation, it started a different dialogue in the staff room. Not only has he planned this, he's put it all in place, but he's also seeing it through and looking at the next steps.
And I think it's blossomed into something that even Russell hadn't imagined because of the way he's got staff behind him, and it's inspired staff and pupils alike.
Congratulations, Russell. What an amazing idea. Where did it come from? How did you end up with this concept of the box?
Thank you. It started with very sort of it evolved into at one end being about technology, but the other about having original ideas and being creative.
Amazing. Well, we will box this up and send it to you. Many, many congratulations to Russell. Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you, Victoria. It's a real pleasure to be here this evening to celebrate these awards for the best innovations and initiatives in the independent sector. School Fee Plan are also celebrating. 2020 is our 25th anniversary. That's 25 years of working with hundreds of independent schools up and down the country. And tonight is just a wonderful illustration of why the thousands of parents we work with use School Fee Plan's fee payment options to ensure that their children can attend these exceptional schools. So, without further ado, I am absolutely delighted to announce that the winner is Tracy Thomas of Aberdour School for her inspiring lifelong learning initiative. Huge congratulations, Tracy. Well done.
Much, Thea, thank you. And now let's look at the video of Tracy Thomas telling us more about her work.
PAL, it gives the children the confidence to know that when they come to school, that there are people who really care about them, who believe in their dreams, who want them to constantly reinvent themselves. We think it's far more than just testing with children. We want to give them the skills they'll need for the future.
What we then did was created a strand in our curriculum called the Lifelong Learning strand, and that has 4 main elements. The being element, which is very much humanities, philosophy, religions of the world. The living element, which is our environmental, biology, geography study. The create, digital learning, enterprise, creating new ideas, and the endeavour, which is personal challenge.
We explore different ways of thinking, and we always write a dissertation, which is something at the end normally of every half term to kind of bring everything all together.
We talked a lot about it, we brainstormed a lot of ideas. The staff did all come on board and were thrilled by being able to follow not only the children's passions but also their passions. This gave them that opportunity.
As a teacher with quite a few years experience, my enthusiasm for classroom teaching has certainly been impacted by the lifelong learning curriculum. The broadness of the word itself allows me to really cherry pick from everything I see around me, and I think it's making my lessons better.
We want people who can listen, who can think, who can put ideas together, and this has really increased that in our children.
I think we feel that children are more engaged with the world as a whole, so they're more likely to come into lessons and say, we watched a news report about the SpaceX programme and other issues connected with space travel, and there certainly is a greater knowledge and greater desire to learn about these issues from the children.
Instead of having just a bunch of different lessons and then they're very strict and you have to follow one straight line in what you're doing, you can maybe bring in links and different things from different subjects. So I have chosen to do a plant, so like a power plant, a control room. So we've got some electronics rooms, so where you can control electronics and like cut off the power.
I want to spread it wider, would love to share the ideas, but the success that we've had so far will suggest that we need to just keep putting more into it, because this is where the children want to learn.
Tracy, what can I say? Do you know, none of us are irreplaceable, but she's probably as near to it as you would ever get. She's very inclusive. She encourages all the, not just the children, but the staff as well, to really push to find their potential.
She shows trust in us as staff to come up with the best lessons we can, and an expectation that we need to raise our game to make this curriculum, you know, the best thing about the school.
The whole driver behind this is to create rounded human beings, a future-proof education where children have got skills that they can take forward into their future forever. In particular, teamwork, creativity, not shying away from big questions and putting forward hypotheses that don't always work, testing them and trying again.
Tracy, really inspirational and incredible work you're doing there. What does it mean to you to have it recognised and to win this award?
Do you know, it's fantastic, because we've been really lucky at Aberdeen to do what all teachers want to do, which is write their own curriculum and lead from what the children need. So I just feel really lucky and privileged to have been able to work at such a great school that has allowed me to work with the children. The children led everything and the teachers were behind it all. So I just feel privileged.
Well, very well deserved, and many, many congratulations. We will be sending this to you, Tracy. Well done.
Thank you.
So now, ladies and gentlemen, to the final award of this evening. The person who the 25 have voted, so they vote for the overall winner, as the leading innovator and influencer in the independent school sector. So to make the presentation and to say a few words, I would like to ask Bob York, Sales Director of Sims Independent.
Thanks for that introduction. It's great to be here tonight amongst so many genuinely interesting and innovative people. We've been associated with the awards for 2 years now, and the attraction for us is to help shine a light on what is making a real difference in independent education today and creating better outcomes for pupils, staff and school communities. At SIMS, we aim to be the breathing heart of the school's data flow, both as a repository of data, but also the method through which that data is reported and used elsewhere in the school. Whether it's through parental engagement, payments, such as fees, or in supporting attainment or behavioural outcome. From live reporting, which is used day in, day out by tutors, to providing insights for the senior leadership team, we're at the cutting edge. This has especially been the case in recent months during the pandemic, when some of our schools have been using our integration and synchronization with Microsoft Teams, Microsoft OneNote and SIMS together. They distribute coursework or class information, discuss it, develop it between teachers and pupils both in and out of lessons, and then to mark it, and all of this taking place electronically in the safety of pupils and teachers' homes. And finally, of course, synchronizing those marks back into the SIMS system. And because we get excited about the cutting edge achievements that we deliver in our schools, we are always interested in where schools are going and what we can do to help them next. And it is to that end that I'm delighted to announce the winner of the 2020 i25 Awards, which is... It's Patrick Derham and he is the headmaster of Westminster School. So great congratulations to Patrick and all of the team at Westminster School. And I'll now hand back to you.
Well, thank you very much, Bob. Thank you. Now, let's take a look at our overall winner, Patrick Derham, talking about his work.
The great success of Harris Westminster has been this genuine partnership between Westminster School and the Harris Federation, trying to replicate the very best of a Westminster education in the maintained sector. So we have this wonderful selective school, sixth form only, high expectation, high aspiration.
The teaching is very similar. We have timetables that allow us to share teaching across the two schools. So members of staff from here teach over at Harris Westminster, pupils from Harris Westminster study certain subjects here, and it really is a genuine partnership between the two schools.
It's really wonderful to have this partnership with Westminster School where we can attend lectures, for example, over here at Westminster, and we can organise activities between the societies that we have in common. And it just sort of brings the whole community together and lets us share a bit more about each other's experiences.
The 9th of October 2018, I hope, will be a turning point in Westminster School's history. That is when we launched the Westminster School campaign. This was a deliberate step to reconnect us with Queen Elizabeth I's refounding wishes, which in a sense made us to be a school of meritocracy, providing opportunities. So when we launched the campaign, we were very, very clear that we wanted to create an endowment, the Ben Jonson Endowment, to enable the school in time to be needs blind. Within the first year we'd raised £6 million, which was a wonderful, in a sense, endorsement of everything that we're trying to do. It's going to take a long time, but we're on the road and it'll be transformational.
I think the Westminster campaign is wonderful. I think it's going to benefit the school in many, many ways, in that the school is going to become sort of much more diverse and much more interesting place to sort of live and work.
And similarly, the platform programmes, which started with Westminster Platform, which is a primary programme working with local primary schools, Saturday mornings school lessons for children in local primary schools who are academically have potential and to help fuel their ambition. And then Platform Plus now, which is an extension of that. Now working with Year 10 pupils with two streams, a STEM stream and a liberal arts stream.
And it's been a great success. And what's been really humbling to me is that the number of schools across London who've been in to see the programme and who are running versions of Platform themselves, both prep schools and other senior schools. And that to me is really gratifying to see the way that has taken root.
So I think the campaign is a great idea, obviously, to offer bursaries to those who aren't as fortunate as us, who are able to afford the extraordinary fees that you have to pay to come to Westminster.
And the fact that it's needs blind is brilliant, because then it's accessible to anyone. You just have to be academically rigorous, academically good enough, and that's all they're looking at.
My life was transformed by educational opportunity. I was taken in by a charity and lived on board a ship for 2 years. I was going to join the Navy at 16. Ship closed down overnight, and my life was transformed by somebody paying for me to go into posh school, as my shipmate said. And I went to Cambridge, and my life was transformed by the liberating power of education.
Patrick has made widening access to education and building academic engagement and ambition and fueling ambition a kind of central tenet of his headship here and indeed his wider career.
Another thing about Westminster is the volunteering, which isn't directly academic, but it's something Mr. Derham is really, really keen on. And I think about 80% of people in sixth form will do some sort of volunteering.
I've really tried to make the community aware that with the benefit of liberal, liberating education comes a responsibility to give back.
Huge congratulations, Patrick. Huge congratulations. The overall winner, voted for by everyone else. How does that make you feel? What does that mean to you to be voted by the 25?
Oh, Victoria, thank you. No, I'm overwhelmed, and actually it's been the most wonderful thing to have had the real privilege of watching all the finalist videos, and just picking up on what a number of people have said. I mean, it is extraordinary how much innovation has been going on within the sector, and it's something we should all be very proud of. But I just want to say a huge congratulations to the fellow finalists, and a huge thank you for me. It's a very fitting way for my career to end by an award like this. So I'm really touched, very humbled and very grateful. So thank you.
Well, many congratulations, and we will be sending this on to you to have pride of place on your mantelpiece. So congratulations to Patrick Derham, who is our overall winner. So, congratulations to all the 25 for the real difference that they're making to our schools. And that brings us to the end of tonight's broadcast and this year's awards. Thank you for supporting this event. Please enjoy the rest of your evening, and we hope to see you all again next year. Good evening.